Well, restart that. Just the fact that there's somewhere we can grow. Like, even if you think there's not, there is. Jim Rohn says something that I hold on strong to. He says it's normally a half dozen things that makes 80% of the difference. So where I am in my life, if I think about 6 things that if I were to improve those 6 things, damn, that makes 80% of the difference in my success and in my happiness and in my peace and in, just my relationship, like all that. So that's something, it's things that we literally do subconsciously on a daily.
Every time you follow through, you reinforce the belief. I do what I say I do. That's a powerful thing to be able to say. It changes how you see yourself. And it changes what you believe you're capable of. We are all capable of extraordinary things in this life. Everything we need and everything we require to achieve, everything we believe we can, is already here for us. Nothing is created nor destroyed. Hello, listeners. Welcome to the In Full Bloom Show, the place where financial markets meet personal growth and where real wealth is measured not by your bank account, but by the quality of your mindset, as we'll get into today. I'm thrilled you're here because we're diving into a topic today that describes and is a part of every major success story, whether you're scaling a business, mastering the markets, or reaching new heights in your personal life. Think about this for a moment. Why is it that some people seem to turn setbacks into a golden opportunity while others remain stuck? It all comes down to one powerful principle. The main topic of this episode, the growth mindset. We've all heard of it before. But let me ask you, are you hungry enough to face challenges head on? Do you welcome new ideas or do you shy away from them? Have you ever caught yourself labeling a tough lesson as failure when it could have been your springboard to growth? If that sounds familiar, welcome to today's episode, because this one's just for you. Here's what's on the agenda. We're going to get into the growth mindset and explain it, why it's essential for both trading and everyday life. Secondly, lifelong learning, how constant education and curiosity can accelerate your success in every domain. And third, shifting from fixed to growth mindset. Practical, proven strategies that will help you thrive even when the world throws the unexpected your way. By the end of this episode, you'll have the tools to see challenges not as stumbling blocks, but as launching pads for your next breakthrough. You'll gain the confidence to adapt, to pivot, and to step boldly into opportunities. Throw yourself into the fire, both in the markets and in your own personal journey. So if you're ready to unleash your fullest potential, if you're ready to bloom with us and create unstoppable momentum in your life, you are in the right place, dear listener. Let's dive into it. Fuck, wrong button. I'll get the intro perfect one of these days. This is only episode number 2. But as we get into the main topic of discussion, Marcus, welcome to the studio. We're back here a week later after the recording our first episode.
Yeah. I can't wait for that one to come out.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm fired up for it. I'm fired up for this and love this new setup that we have.
Yeah.
The studio, as you guys all see, needs a little bit of work. We're posted up in my pop's house over here in Tempe. This will probably be our central hub for the next little while. Works out nice for us. Works out okay for my pops. Excuse me. He's a pretty quiet guy. He's working on his dissertation, things like that, chilling. So it works out nice for us. But Marcus, so before we get into our main topic of discussion today, which will be growth mindset, as we talked about in the intro, we're going to get into our very first segment of today's show. It's going to be Market Pulse. We're going to go over a few breaking news headlines, maybe not necessarily breaking, but a few headlines that we can bring to the listener's attention, cause some awareness for, and have a little bit of discussion about. So in typical Channel 3 style, I used to love watching the news just for the artistry, the magic of the host and how they presented the news. So I'm going to tap into my Channel 3 a little bit here. Good evening, everyone. And I can't do it, though, bro. I can't do that to myself. I'm sorry.
That's a skill.
It's
That's
a freaking skill.
It's a skill. You know you're on live television.
It's a skill. It's a skill. So I'm not going to try and get up to that level, but let's get into a little bit of news here. So this just in, the AI shakes up finance. Artificial, and you'll like this one, Marcus. So I'm curious your comments here. Artificial intelligence is pushing the boundaries of what's possible on Wall Street. From robo advisors managing retirement accounts to cutting edge algorithms scanning thousands of stocks in seconds, AI is changing the way we trade and the way we think about money. It's very fascinating. What do you have to say in regards to AI and its breakthrough in finance?
Yeah, that's an ocean.
It's an ocean. In traditional banks are in a race to stay relevant. You brought up on your live the other day how if we all decided to go to the bank, pull out our money, the banks would 100% go under. Yeah, and at least in America, because our dollar is not backed by anything. For sure. We're recruiting top tier coders and data scientists. Traditional banks are now. And meanwhile, smaller investors gain access to sophisticated AI-driven tools once reserved for big institutions. How has AI kind of influenced your engagement with the financial markets? And how have you kind of utilized technology? We talk about this often. We use it every day. But how has AI played an impact in your journey in understanding and trading the financial market? Yeah,
I would definitely say from the resource side of things, it's anything you can want at your fingertips. Like essentially, to an extent, of course, because it does take the human ability to put it into a way for the AI to give you the information that you're looking for. That way, you're not just randomly it's gonna be pretty close, even if you just gave it not even a complete sentence. Like it's going to be pretty close to what you're talking about.
Something like ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPTs, the Geminis. Now we have the DeepSeek, which is something new that I'm sure will come up. But there are actually so many. So I'm taking this course right now, and it's on AI, and the lab it has me go through. It's like another completely different AI, like that I'd never even heard of. So it's just interesting to see how integrated it has been. But it's now like you just read, being more available to the public, to people like me and you. But that's pretty much how I do a lot of my research. That's what gets my because the more I think, I ask a question. It gives me an answer that then makes me think of another question, and then I continue, and I just keep going on from there. And so when it comes to the markets, if I see an article on Reuters, I want more detail. I tell them that I literally say, as of, let's just say January 27th, there was an article on Reuters about, the dollar taking some negative pressure on it because of poor labor market. What sectors is this impacting? And I'll just go from there, and I'll put because it has to be able to properly find that information. If I just say what's going on in U.S. news today, that's not going to really get me anywhere. So I would just say day to day with the markets, resource for credible information and then using that to know how that's going to impact the market. But man, to your point a little bit a second ago about, you asked a question about like in the finance space. And that's interesting that the robo-advisors, I haven't heard of those.
Well, and it kind of makes sense, right? Yeah. It must really be speaking to a similar situation to how we interact with it. Yeah. Because we're... For sure. Somebody who is a computer science major, somebody who is... does have the skill of coding at a high level. Think about the way they can use AI.
Yeah.
So essentially, at the professional level, and we're just not professionals yet.
Yes.
But in the professional sector, 100% AI is a robo advisor.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about investing in this stock? What do you think about? And and I can imagine some large language models specifically tailored to financial and institutional information, stocks, history, data. Like it's just the thought of it is. It's crazy, and I would never have thought, we won't get into this too much here on the show, but just when it comes to us building a skill set and utilizing AI to develop an automated trading algorithm in which we can have in our portfolio, being able to do that, it'd take a lot longer without AI, but just the options and the resources we have as not only traders but human beings with AI and large language models is spectacular.
Yeah. And something I definitely see even coming, especially from these institutions, these big companies are their own AIs, right? Like we see it now. Like when you go onto a website and they have that chat bot in the corner that's a virtual assistant, like that is an AI. That's just a really dumbed down version, and it can only do so much. Because there's three different types of AI. There's weak AI or narrow AI, and this is like the most basic level of AI. Like it's going to answer questions for you. It's going to be able to find information. It's going to be able to do all those things, but just at a really basic level. And then there's it's generative AI, and generative AI is human intelligence combined with computer intelligence, and it's merged. And it's just that. So that's us using it. Then we're using the computer. So that's how that works. And then there's superhuman intelligence, where it learns the human once and can do its own thing and start to actually much more dynamic. And we're not there yet. We're not to superhuman intelligence yet, which is insane. I seen an article from Google the other day, and they mentioned actually working on superhuman intelligence. And that's when we'll see, like how we were just talking about a second ago, personal assistant, like in your home, knows your whole like medical, all the medical problems you need, how much iron you need today, how many calories you should eat today, like all that, bro. Like I imagine it being like that 10, 15 years from now, for sure.
Yeah, and we'll continue to talk about AI and its adoption. Last episode I used adaptation. I wanted to use adoption, AI's adoption into society.
And its use case.
And its use case, exactly.
Use case, which is a big word we'll hear over the next handful of years.
Exactly, 100%. So moving on, next headline, the streaming wars intensify. So in other news, the battle for your screen time is heating up. Disney, Netflix, and a host of new competitors are pouring billions of dollars into fresh content, and investors are paying close attention. Subscriber numbers have become the new ratings, and missing the mark can send a stock plummeting. Why it matters. As platforms churn out shows and movies, consumers' tastes are shifting faster than ever. Our attention span is getting shorter and shorter as we move along this technological age. This makes earning calls sound a bit like box office reports, where each blockbuster or flop can sway market sentiment. So for the big picture, for those watching from an investment standpoint, the streaming space offers high stakes and high drama. But the streaming wars, and it's interesting, Marcus, I'm interested in your thoughts just in regards to, and I haven't really thought about this before as I conceptualize it, but like actually these like Netflix, Disney, when the streaming numbers are released, that could really be big data.
That's actually facts.
Maybe in terms of stock market, maybe not so much in terms of currency price, but.
So is that like a folder? I want to look. I wonder if that's like something something they release, like an economic folder?
It must be because they're publicly traded companies, so I'm sure. Yeah. Just like
monthly, quarterly. Yeah. No, that's interesting. I mean, it makes sense that they're trying to get the football games, basketball games. They're doing a lot right now with the streaming services.
I just remember like when Netflix was maybe not first getting started, But still, when Blockbuster was around and we started to move to Netflix, like Netflix would send you the disc and you'd have the disc for like 3 days and you have to send it back.
Yeah.
But just how far Netflix has come just in our lifetime is crazy.
And even freaking Blockbuster, like they're still sick to their stomach. Blockbuster is like just
you have to be all the executives in that company.
Man,
I'm sick for them just sitting here.
And it goes to show the inability to try new things. You know what I'm saying? Because like they didn't have to completely like dive in all the way. Maybe in renegotiation. Who knows how that went? But yeah, they're definitely sick at home right now.
Yeah, 100%. Moving on to our last headline. Headline number 3: Volatility is on the rise in the markets. Markets, we've both seen this.
Oh yeah.
Over the last couple months since
crazy.
This presidential the presidential not debate
inauguration
election and inauguration.
Both.
Thank you very much. Both.
Yeah.
The market's been very, very volatile. Very, very. It's been moving a lot, to say the least. So guys, folks, hold on to your hats because the markets have in fact been on a roller coaster, as we just preluded. The VIX, often dubbed the fear index, has been spiking in recent sessions, reflecting concerns over possible interest rate hikes and global economic uncertainties. Marcus, bring to light, we can talk about this for a couple minutes, but just some of the things that have caused the volatility over the last couple months.
I mean, of course, Trump being in office and his approach to the main things being tariffs and immigration. Those are kind of the two big things that these companies, first, the U.S. economy is looking at on both. Of course, with immigration, it potentially impacting the labor market, which information prior to me delving into this election and understanding how immigration even impacts in the labor market, I didn't know how many jobs came from that. I really don't have any extensive knowledge in terms of how, those, immigrants or how are able to receive employment. I'm not sure if you do. But I just know that was something that the markets were looking at to significantly impact our economy, U.S. economy. And then tariffs, of course, with trade being such a big thing. The world is so integrated and intertwined within itself. If one economy does something drastic, and I'm not going to say one economy, I'm going to say between the U.S. and let's say China, probably when they do something really drastic, it has implications on a lot of different countries. And to be honest, I personally feel like it's the uncertainty. Like people don't really know how tariffs are going to impact. People don't really know how these new immigration policies are going to impact. You don't really know how things are going to impact. It's all speculation of what they kind of anticipate should happen from something. So, the T word, and then the like I said, the labor market, I feel like it's something that has caused this roller coaster. Because one day it's, you're seeing stuff about the dollar doing great, and the next they're talking about the complete opposite. Like just like as the article I showed you, because of AI. So once again, to me, it's all just speculation. I know that I think it's 100 and how many days was it? 120 days or 60 days or some time frame that Trump gave to implement everything. And then there's also another time frame for the crypto side of it, which I think it's like 90 days or 160 days as well, where we haven't even seen volatility.
Yeah, man, and you hit it right on the head just in using the phrase uncertainty. I think the uncertainty at the end of the day has kind of been if I could use one word for the last 6 months in terms of the market, it's uncertainty. Yeah. And it's speculation. That's why, we always encourage people to always utilize good, high sourced information, but use it to develop your own sentiment. Don't look up Joe Smo, this executive, this person, and just follow what they're doing and have the same sentiment as them every single time. Just utilize what they have to say and develop your own sentiment. I think is very important. But for me, what I'm very interested in following and things that have been and could and will continue to impact the market. I mean, I'll keep it short here as we continue on through the episode, but it's what the tariffs will look like. Trump has kind of been on both. Like initially, it was okay. As soon as I get in there, the tariffs are going to come into play.
Just talking.
But now he's inaugurated, and then he's been a little bit more maybe not bearish on it, but it's not quite as
a negotiating tool, right? It's for sure a negotiating tool because it's easy. I feel like it's just easy to throw that out there. Like being such a, you know, kind of like the article you just said, you know how much weight you have as an economy. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, because even if you do it back to us, it's not going to impact us as much as it will use, referencing Colombia, but.
And Mark is referencing an article I brought up earlier before we started the episode and it was just in regards to, I won't go into it too much, but just in regards to the U.S. flexing their muscles, establishing themselves as the dominant power. Which I'll tie into a couple other things. I'm interested in crypto. This ties into the U.S. holding that position, which we won't get into too much on this episode, but we'll definitely have an episode specifically tailored to crypto. What we're going to do, Marcus, we haven't even quite defined what it'll look like, but we'll do live streams on our business YouTube where we talk about much more esoteric trading concepts, things impacting the financial markets. And in this Full Bloom show, we really want to tie in trading, yes, but find the perfect middle between trading, interacting with financial markets, and personal growth and personal development. So we won't go too deep into the crypto space right here on this episode. And then along with tech, and we mentioned that earlier, just tech, AI, just what that is going to look like for the next 40 years. I mean, just what the world's going to look like. It's going to be amazing.
And that is the reason that we're talking about it. We are not just talking about it because, we are tech geniuses and gurus. It is because it is going to directly impact our lives, and we want to get ahead of the ball. And we know with VXT, over a certain amount of time, we'll be able to use this stuff to where, man, that's just a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the latest in the financial world. At least a few things we're curious and interested about. Right here on Channel 3.
Yeah.
Or what we call the Full Bloom Show. Thank you very much. Especially the people in the back. As we've seen, uncertainty and innovation are certainly everywhere. AI is reshaping Wall Street. The streaming wars are captivating audiences and investors alike, and market volatility is testing even the most seasoned traders. As we continue on in the episode, here's where we'll get into the main concept of the episode today, the growth mindset. And we'll dive into how being flexible and open to change can help you thrive, no matter what surprises the market has in store. The market or life, we could say.
Yeah.
Well, stay with us as we move into our next segment. In Full Bloom topic of the week, growth mindset. So we'll get into it here. Welcome to our next segment, the In Full Bloom topic of the week, growth mindset. What is growth mindset? So growth mindset was originally coined by a psychologist named Carol Dweck, who wrote a famous book on growth mindset. The growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. And in contrast, so the opposite of a growth mindset is what's called a fixed mindset, which assumes your abilities are static and that failure defines your limits. Growth mindset for me was something that I was very blessed and fortunate to be taught by my dad when I was growing up. I think he read Carol Dweck's book back, this was probably when I was in 4th or 5th grade. He read that book. So the growth mindset is something that not only applies to us as traders. Not only something that applies to us as human beings. Obviously, Carol Dweck was a psychologist who studied humans, But this really certainly applies to our trading journey.
Absolutely.
And what that looks like.
Yeah.
We won't hold on to this growth mindset topic for too long. But again, this is the main topic of our conversation today. And Marcus, you brought up something earlier when I forgot what I was going to say, but I remembered it. And again, this is Bob speaking through me here. And you mentioned growth mindset never ends, never stops.
Yeah.
Our ability to grow never ends, never stops. Bob talks about our personal development never ends. But why does it never end? There is perfect in us. Obviously, nobody's perfect. But there is perfection in us in a way. We are a soul. We don't have the soul. We are a soul. And because of that, because there is perfection in us, personal development growth mindset is the push towards that perfect. No one will never get there. Again, that's why growth and personal development never ever ends, because there's perfection in us, which we're all striving for. So, Marcus, what's one simple habit for our listeners that they can start now to help kind of them to adopt a growth mindset? Here we can talk about some protocols, and we'll just move into our next segment, which is titled "Tools of the Trade."
Yeah.
And so now we'll talk about practical and applicable ways you can adopt a growth mindset and carry out a growth mindset in your life.
Yeah.
So, Marcus, I'll pose the question again.
Yep.
Just when it comes to adopting a growth mindset in your life, what are some ways our listeners can do that?
I would say you got to start with your language, the way you talk. That was like one thing that really changed for me, is just the way that I started talking to myself, and the way I started, even as simple as saying that I can't do something. Like, that's something that if you ever hear me say that, then I will catch myself, or I just have for some odd reason, the inability to do that. Like, and I understand that, but just changing the simple words that you may not think have an impact on you. Because once you're aware of that change, like being aware of that being something that you don't want to say is growth, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, if you saying you can't do something and then you say that and you're like, oh wait, no, I can. There's nothing that I can't do. So let me not say it that way. Let me say it differently. That action is growth, and then the steps you take to then, gain that knowledge or whatever the case is also growth. So I definitely say start with the language.
And I'll touch on that, and then I'll let you keep going.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Another protocol. I want to touch on Myron Golden here a little bit. It might have been a video you shared with me. Maybe it was just a video I watched one night on YouTube. I love Myron's stuff, by the way.
He's so
good. If you haven't
good.
watched Myron Golden, he's so good. He's so good. Got a lot of respect for Myron Golden, everything he's done. He'd be a really cool person to learn from.
Yeah.
When I look at it. But so he talks about just the way we talk, the way we approach our days. A lot of times, like when you interact with people, Marcus, you and I are both in service. You ask them how you're doing. People say, I'm fine.
Yeah, I do remember that video.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? Yeah. I'm fine. Not too bad. That doesn't mean anything. You're already, when you have that mindset, you're putting yourself in a position to not operate at the frequency in which you need to operate at to achieve everything you want to achieve,
or attract an opportunity, which Myron talks about in that is operating at that frequency.
Fuck it out, folks.
Yeah, man.
We love when the thoughts and ideas come together.
Yes, for sure. No, that was a Myron video. That's funny. I'm fine, because what he say? I'm doing great. I'm even better now that I'm talking to you. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Even just how he does it. It's golden. No pun intended.
No pun intended.
I'm doing great, doing much better now that I'm talking it with you.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. So it's funny. I feel like, and to your point, this is a journey, Mark, that I've been on. Growth, like I said, growth mindset is something that's been incorporated in my life for a long time. But it's every day committing to do these little things, these little protocols to just always keep yourself in a state of growth, particularly in your mindset.
And I would say, before I get to the second thing that we'll touch on together, I try not to overlook what is growth. I think something as simple as being in traffic is a moment to find growth, because that initial feeling you have is your subconscious, right? I think it's like 90% of our daily actions are subconscious. Our daily thoughts are subconscious. So think about that. We have to rewire that word to Bob. And so that initial eagerness and impatient feeling that you have when you stroll right into traffic, you just talk to yourself and rewire and say, no, like I don't need to be impatient. Let me just be patient. I'm not going to get anywhere 5 minutes later. It just like, you can start there. It sounds silly, like, I know, but it's the little things that matter. And we know from being athletes, man, the little things win games.
Yes, the little things. The little things. You mentioned something so profound. In every moment we can find growth.
Yes.
Every single moment we're alive, we can find growth. It's just on us to look for it and see it. It's not that hard for us to see.
Yeah.
And I wanted, again, this might be my last thing from Bob, maybe not. And I don't apologize for it, because it's fantastic. But Bob brings up the concept of nothing is good or bad.
Yeah.
So when we're looking for things to grow from, we're not looking to grow from the bad things, which would ideally, quote unquote, be better, or the good things. Nothing's good or bad. Everything just is.
Yes.
Everything just is. And because everything just is, we can learn from every single one of those just is moments. When I'm going through my daily life, when I'm I've been doing this so long now, where I've made it so my growth. I've tried to make it as micro as possible, to where, this is a really good example. I'm very ambidextrous, so I can use both my right and my left hand.
That's so cool.
Very well with most activities.
Like cooking and stuff too? Cooking, cleaning dishes, brushing your teeth.
I was born with an ability to, ever since I've been young, like I always kind of had a confusion of which hand to use. My parents just kind of let me, just do whatever.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I've been able to refine what I can use with both my right and my left hand.
That's dope.
By just like doing it. And I micro it down to like, okay, I'm brushing my teeth today. And I'll be like, I'm gonna brush my teeth with my right hand. I'm working my ambidextrous right hand right now. Brush my right hand. Okay, cool. I'm eating a meal. I'm gonna use my right hand. Today, just cause.
Writing too, you can do that.
I don't do it with writing, just for efficiency purposes.
Yeah. You're slower with your right hand.
No, yeah.
Okay, so your left hand is more dominant.
When it comes to that, just because whenever I'm writing, usually I'm doing something I want to like just get done.
Yeah, I hear that.
I already have a timeline. Yeah. So I won't really. I can write with my right hand, and it's useful when I write on a whiteboard. Actually, just because when you write with your left hand on a whiteboard, it smears. It's writing left to right.
Yeah.
Whereas you write with your right hand, it doesn't smear. Yeah. Your hand doesn't go across. But just when it comes to growth, guys, we can find growth in anything, from brushing your teeth to driving and exercising patience, to recording a podcast, to running a business. Growth is everywhere, but it's on us to find it.
Yeah, no, I just want to bring up a quick story that I just love. And it's referencing the Bible, and I believe it's Sarai when she's in the desert. And Myron, he talks so good. You'll hear us a number of times refer to Myron on podcasts, in our Instagram videos, whatever the case may be.
It's a big part of our growth right now.
Yeah, man, he's really good in just the way he teaches. But he was talking specifically about this story in the Bible of when, I believe it was Sarai. This is how it goes. So her son is thirsty, right? Dying of thirst. And God basically talks to her and opens her eyes. And in the Bible, it says that she opens her eyes and there is a well, right? And so when we're talking about there is an opportunity somewhere, that's what kind of Myron was getting at, of awareness and having awareness and being aware to all the opportunities to grow, opportunities for, money, opportunities for this, whatever the case may be. There's opportunity everywhere. That's the story that he was referring to. And I just thought that was really just impactful, because of the way he referred to that story and how a lot of the times opportunities are sitting right in front of us, and we can only be aware if we open our eyes.
That's it. It requires us to be to open up our eyes. Don't need a third eye. Don't need four eyes. Just need the damn two eyes in front of our face, and look at what's going on in front of us. And so I'll mention 4 things that might be applicable, 4 additional things, before we move on to our next and second to last segment of this episode. So 4 things I got for you. One is journal your progress, and this kind of speaks to not particularly just traders. I'm not a big journaler when it comes to my life, but I kind of through my trading journal can kind of journal my emotions at the very least. But outside of trading, I'm not a big journaler. But journaling is something that is very useful for a lot of people. Yeah. So just when it comes to tracking your growth and always just kind of checking in, doing those mental check-ins with your growth mindset, journaling is a great way to manage and keep up with your progress.
So you can refer back to, I think that's where I find it for me, because I'm inconsistent in my journaling. Like, I have the thought to do so, and at that moment when I have the thought, I do it. But I don't do it like every single day. But when I go back and I read my thoughts, I'm like, okay, so that's right. And I always make sure I have the date on there. So I definitely say for reference is a big one for me, for sure.
100%. Second thing, seek feedback. Now, of course, we've talked about it on this podcast before, you are who you hang around, but surround yourself with people who challenge you. Whether it's a mentor, coach, peer group, feedback is crucial for growth. We can't do this shit alone. We can't do this alone. I'm blessed to have Marcus in my life, my family, really supportive friends, and I couldn't do it without all of them.
Yeah, no, man, likewise, for real. Like, I wouldn't want to be building this with anybody else. But that brings me to the Derrick Rose thing that I remember that performance or the speech he gave and talking about his son. Like, literally, like, having his home environment allows him to grow, right? He said, I'm not trying to be good. Do you want to be good or do you want to be great? So that's so dope to me.
Beautiful, beautiful message there. Thirdly, embracing uncertainty, which we talked about earlier in this podcast. Develop the habit of stepping outside of your comfort zone. Take calculated risks and treat every challenge as a learning opportunity, which we just touched on. And then 4, continuous learning. Read books, watch Myron's YouTube videos, listen to Bob Proctor, listen to Earl Nightingale. If you're not a reader, listen to the audiobook. If you don't like the audiobook,
be a reader.
Read. If you don't like either, watch it. There's no excuse for us not to be in a state of growth at any given time and constantly.
Yeah, facts. And I just have to say it, because if you don't like reading, that's like major growth there. Yeah. If you don't like reading and you read, I promise you there's major growth there.
Do it for 30 days. Do it for a week.
Yeah.
If you see nothing change, if you gain nothing from it, don't do it anymore.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Just run a little experiment myself. I challenge our listeners to do something like that. Read, do this protocol, do that protocol, but commit to doing it today. When you're listening to this, commit to do whatever that thing is for 30 days and see if it's made it.
What's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst that can happen?
Okay, I figure, I don't need to do that anymore. All right, fine. Or I love that. That just actually accelerated my life 10x. Let me just keep doing that again. See how much I can grow.
Constantly. And one thing, before we move into our current market sentiment, one thing I've done ever since I was little, man, is just running little experiments on myself. Just like what we just talked about. There's no way for you to know if something will impact your life in a dramatic, major way if you don't do it and try it consistently over.
Yes.
Not even that, 30 days is not that long of a time.
Yes.
But incorporate something into your life for a couple weeks and see what happens.
But that I feel like, as they say, the days are long and the years are short. I heard that saying from a customer of mine probably 2 months ago, and I've been holding on to it since. But I had a thought, and I'm not gonna lose it because it's really important. I found it, and what I want to say is we talk about these things, and me and you go over these concepts. We're not experts at them, like on them by any means at all. But one thing that I personally care about, and I know you do as well, is sharing the journey as you're going through it. I think a lot of people that we have looked up to, in a sense, not in terms of higher stature or whatnot, but in terms of inspiration, have shown the journey after they've gone through it. So you're seeing Quentin and Marcus on January 27th, and we won't be the same person on June 27th and December 27th, and so on and so forth. So these concepts that we're talking about, we're using them, we're refining them, we're finding better ones, so on and so forth. So
VXT, till we die. And like what Marcus is touching on there, this process of growth is scalable to any scale. Yeah. Not everybody, like Marcus and I, want to build a multi-million-dollar business and have a diversified portfolio and earn 20% a year on our portfolio, and live the light, live and operate at the frequency, and not just operate, but live and be in the frequency we foresee for ourselves. Some people just, and there's nothing wrong with it. I shouldn't say just, but have a family, live in a nice home. Yeah. So this is scalable to any level.
Growth in your parenting, your relationships.
There's growth in every single opportunity. Every moment we live, there's opportunity for us to grow. I forgot what I was going to say there, so I rambled for a couple seconds there to save it. But I'm going to snitch on myself.
You'll find it.
Damn it. Next segment, we'll move into just our market sentiment. Marcus is going to be a shorter segment for us. Just when it comes to your trading, maybe again you talked about this before, but some of the things you're trading right now, markets, pairs, assets you're trading, and kind of your sentiment on a few of them.
Yeah, so I'm trading mainly USD yen. So UJ is the main one I'm trading for Forex. I still love gold XAUSD, but I need to get my account to a certain account size for where I'm okay trading Forex. So for now, I'm trading, which I really love, futures gold. So it moves relatively the same. The pricing on futures, I've noticed, we had talked about this the other day, but I've noticed that it is slightly different. I've just speculated because that's the futures that I'm trading is like the future price, not the current price, which is Forex. But it's mainly those two, and then I'm diversifying money into my crypto portfolio. So XRP, XLM, HBAR, Algo, ADA. Those are my top 5 right now, and they're all under like $3. So honestly, I just put extra money, and not extra money after I spend stuff and I buy stuff, extra money after I pay bills.
Kind of like your next tier.
Absolutely. Just because of the scale, bro. It's just I don't need, I don't need to buy anything. I just need to make sure my bills are paid, make sure I can put food on the table, and then I'm investing everything else and then trading everything else. That's literally the 2 things that I'm focused on. And stocks is a big thing that I'm diving into, like you said, the portfolio. So I'm building my 7-year plan, and I'm not going to get into, I have a whole trading view list, cause I'm trying to build that out. End of the year is my objective to have my my portfolio completely figured out. To where I'm putting, $10 into every check or whatever the case may be. Just because, I feel like the earlier with something like that, what we know about compound interest, the sooner you start, the better off we'll be. But that dollar yen is really my favorite ones right now.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll double back to the original question for myself. And Mark, I'll kind of preface, this segment in a way. I'm certainly in a space where I'm really thinking about my portfolio and the diversification of my portfolio and what I want that to look like. At the end of the year, I have the goal of having 5 diversified, unique streams of income.
Yes.
So for me, that's my 2025. That's my main goal, 2025. Yes.
And when you mean that, are you meaning let's say stocks and then real estate? So get out of the financial markets, right? Is that what you refer to?
So I'm in, and I'll include the financial markets. So so for example, and I figured out about 3. So one will be Forex, and I might make it 7 if I'm super technical and I count in like my job and just like some other things. But of course that might look different as I go to masters. But that's besides the point. But currency, so Forex, tech heavy EFTs, and then crypto. That's something in the first half of 2025 I want to have established. Crypto being, since obviously I'm trading Forex now, the crypto, I'm really heavy in the research right now, which I'm really just trying to figure out which platform I want to use right now. I did some research earlier today. The Coinbase is just easy, but I'm just doing thorough research. So
I hear that.
I haven't gotten in yet, but
after listening to that World Economic Forum, I really respect. Like I really like to see a Coinbase. I'd be okay with Coinbase.
Yeah, but some of the pairs I'm trading, XAUSD, USD JPY, and Euro USDY, very volatile pairs. XAUSD is obviously gold, but then when it comes to the currencies, USD JPY and Euro USD, the Japanese market and obviously the Euro Union are very, very big when it comes to just global impact other than the United States. Yeah. So those are inevitably more volatile pairs to trade. Gold will always be the one thing that I'm gonna master that. I'm gonna master that bad boy. I got eaten up a little bit today. Today was my first day. Today's January 27th, Monday. My first full day trading live. I got eaten up a little bit. Took about a 5% loss on the day. Of course, VXT, first day back, a little rusty. A lot of trades, thought about it. I might do a little video tonight, put it in our Circle platform, and talk about it. But yeah, I'm very interested in here. I'll get into just kind of the sentiment of the U.S. dollar. And again, when it comes to the U.S. dollar, just king. Obviously, we talk about USD, JPY, Euro,
greenback,
USD. When we talk about the greenback, it's the uncertainty that's very intriguing. So I'm just going to be watching that U.S. dollar very close, particularly as this whole terror story continues to unfold and some immigration stuff continues to unfold. Like we mentioned earlier, this uncertainty right now. I'm going to be watching that USD index very closely.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about it too. But there's no way that we can fail, right? There's no way that the USD fails, because there's only one other option. It's just that everything fails, and we don't grow at all. Somebody else takes over, and now China's leading everything. I feel like those are the only 2 options.
Yeah.
So,
and maybe we'll get into this more in our next episode, but the race for incorporating crypto into domestic life, so national life, in the United States or China or Euro, whoever can figure that out first, I think will be the next world power. If it's the U.S., great. If it's not, we'll see who it is.
And ultimately, that's going to depend on the banking system.
Yeah.
That's going to ultimately depend on the banking system.
And so if Trump gives the U.S. banking system that green light, that's what it's going to take. Because as most of our listeners know, as most of you guys know, as we know, the federal government and the Fed, the central bank of any country, they're not one and the same. There are different entities. Of course, they work together to get things done, but they are different. So once the government kind of gives the Fed the green light to really incorporate crypto into the banking system, once the banking system gets the green light from the federal government to incorporate it and the Fed to incorporate it, I think whichever country can accomplish that first will be the next world power. Given the U.S. dollar is not backed by anything, given the U.S. dollar is susceptible in the sense that it's not backed by anything anymore. Society is just so U.S. dollar dominant right now. So
that's kind of the main thing too. The U.S. just has their hands in so many highly impactful things to where if they weren't the dominant power, then it would impact those other countries. That's kind of why I analyze it, but I have that slightly biased, bullish sense towards the dollar, especially right now. And I would say now and for the next year, and then I'll reanalyze it. But I feel like now, Like we're about to go on a crazy run.
Yeah.
We're about to go on a crazy run, bro. It's cool. Like
it's gonna be
dude.
the next 10 years, and of course going further.
Yeah.
But life society is gonna be very, very, very,
Very
interesting.
Very different. And we just have the opportunity to capitalize in an extraordinary way. It's just something that I can't let go.
Can't do it. Moving on to our final segment, I'll take over here a little bit. We're going to get into here our segment called The Growth Principle. So in our Growth Principle segment, we're going to talk about and bring up one of our Bloom principles. Anybody that follows us on Instagram, go follow us on Instagram. If you don't, please. I'm just messing around. But go shoot us a follow on Instagram at Bloom Entities. And on that page, I share just a lot of our Bloom principles. Like I said, in my notes, I write down these principles. Whenever I read something that's profound, I write it down. But our Bloom principles, we operate based on our principles. So listeners, welcome to our Bloom Principles segment, where we spotlight one transformative idea to help you flourish in every facet of life, from trading to personal growth. Today in this episode, our principle comes straight from the powerhouse of success thinking. What is that, you may ask? And that principle, the principle of today, is discipline is giving yourself a command and then following through. It's a very simple definition of discipline there. This is pulled from Bob Proctor in his audiobook, Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. Guys, most of us get stuck at what's called the command stage. We say, I'm going to wake up early tomorrow. I'm going to stick to my trade plan. I'm going to live healthier. But then, bing, 5 a.m., the alarm goes off, or the market gets a little choppy, and we let ourselves off the hook. Bob Proctor would remind us that discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Dreaming's fine, but our actions must line up with our beliefs for it to be manifested in results. It's that inner pact you make. Discipline is. This is what I want. And then you act like you really mean it. Once you act, you create momentum that pulls opportunities. Marcus talked about that earlier. Opportunities right in front of us every single day. That pulls opportunities, confidence, and success towards you. Think about it. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, like sticking to a stop loss plan or writing in a journal for 10 minutes a day or reading for 20 minutes a day, you are building self-trust. That trust becomes the bedrock for better wins down the line. Unlike debt, where debt you're borrowing from your future self, you implementing protocols is adding to your future self. Yes, guys, that trust becomes the bedrock of bigger wins down the line. Again, and in the markets, discipline is everything. It keeps you from panic selling when prices dip or tossing your strategy aside after a rough day. It's the linchpin of consistency, which is the stepping stone to lasting results. But let's not forget, this goes way, way, way beyond trading in the financial markets. Discipline underpins how you invest in relationships, health, and your overall well-being. If you've ever tried to build a new habit, like save an extra 10% on your income, or putting this in your Roth, or taking your vitamins each day, or going on a run, or exercising daily, discipline, guys, is the glue that holds it all together. Think about it. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the belief. I do what I say I do. That's a powerful thing to be able to say. It changes how you see yourself. And it changes what you believe you're capable of. We are all capable of extraordinary things in this life. Everything we need and everything we require to achieve everything we believe we can is already here for us. Nothing is created nor destroyed. This reminds me of something Bob Proctor often teaches. If you're serious about changing your results, start by changing your daily disciplines. For example, tell yourself, I will dedicate at least 30 minutes a day to study something that expands my mind. Then, when the time comes, show up. No excuses, no delays, no snooze button. Repetition of that single discipline. Earlier, we mentioned reading for 30 days, implementing a protocol for 30 days. Doing that will transform your self-image from someone who wishes and hopes to someone who decides and does. And once you experience the compounding effects of disciplined action, you start to realize you can apply it everywhere. The opportunities, as Marcus said, are everywhere. You think, if I can consistently learn each day, maybe, just maybe, I can also invest more effectively, nurture my relationships a little bit better, or finally kick that bad habit that you have been wanting to kick for the last 6 years, but you haven't been able to do it. Suddenly now you're elevating multiple areas of your life at once, and you are starting to operate at the frequency in which you need to operate at to achieve everything you want to achieve. So here's my challenge for you, listener. My challenge to me, my challenge to Mark is pick one discipline today. Maybe it's journaling every morning to refine a trading strategy, prepping healthy meals, or studying markets for 30 minutes each night, doing some back testing, cold plunge, sauna, whatever it is. Maybe you want to go to the gym 4 times this week. Whatever it is, give yourself the command and do it. No wavering, no second guessing. Because as my guy Bob Proctor would say, the moment you commit fully to your own command, you unlock the power that can lift you to a whole new level of success. Guys, discipline is giving yourself a command and doing just that thing. I hope I made that clear. And again, we operate off of these principles. These principles are not just things we say, not just things we write down, but things Marcus and I, anybody that is involved, associated with Bloom, these are principles that are ingrained and incorporated in our life. So we'll get to our final segment, the closing bell. I just wanted to push a button. That wasn't super necessary. So now let's pause and let these ideas really sink in, because growth isn't just a concept. It's who we become and when we decide to learn, adapt, and rise to every challenge. First, we uncovered the essence of the growth mindset, seeing challenges, failures, and obstacles not as roadblocks, but as springboards to something greater. We talked about how curiosity, adaptability, and resilience ignite breakthroughs in both trading and life. And remember, simple tools like journaling, asking for feedback, and welcoming uncertainty can spark a profound mindset shift from being stuck to being absolutely unstoppable. Mark says, we conclude this episode. What are some of the things that will stand out for you in this episode? What are some things you want to leave our listener with as we conclude this second episode of the In Full Bloom Show?
Just the fact that there's somewhere we can grow. Like, even if you think there's not, there is. There's something that you can do better. Jim Rohn says something that I hold on strong to. He says it's normally a half dozen things that makes 80% of the difference. So when we think about like where I am in my life, I like to refer things like first person. So where I am in my life, if I think about 6 things that if I were to improve those 6 things, damn, that makes 80% of the difference in my success and in my happiness and in my peace and in, just my relationship, like all that. So that's something, and they're not super big, like abstract, complex, like topics that we need to implement. It's things that we literally do subconsciously on a daily. So just leaving with that, and then the accessibility of knowledge, or let me say the accessibility of information, because then you have to go acquire that knowledge. It's here like never before. I feel like, like we were talking about this the other day. If we were in high school around these times, I think our focus would be a little bit different. And maybe it wouldn't be because of who we were at those times. We grew to where now we dive into the things we dive into because of our mindset. So I'll just leave with those 2 things. A half dozen, if you just think about that. 6 things that would make your life go in 80% growth. Like, so it's just crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't take reinventing the wheel. It doesn't take changing your entire life and developing an entire new routine and having to get up at 4 a.m. every single morning and go to the gym and go on a run. It doesn't require that. As Marcus said, 6 things. But whatever the number is for you, find just a few things you can do and incorporate in your life. Do them for 30 days. Stack good days. Be consistent with it. Be disciplined, as we got into with our principle. Incorporate the principles, the Bloom principles. Incorporate and establish your own principles. And again, incorporate consistent systems in which you can abide and live by.
Yeah, I'll just say one more thing too. Just being where you are, like to your point, like doing something for 30 days, but realizing you have to do it for one, and then, for another one, and then for another one, and just kind of visualizing it that way. And that you're capable of doing it, no matter how hard it seems or whatever the case may be.
When you think about it, all it takes is you doing it one day.
Yeah.
Waking up, okay, I just got to do this shit one day. Wake up the next day, I just got to do this one day.
Yeah.
You stack 30 of those just one day. Fuck me, you have 30 days.
It's just like us working out, bro. Like when I first started working out, I did not necessarily love it. Like I didn't like the feeling. I didn't love how it was, but then we started seeing a little progress, and that started compounding. And so, it'll be hard at first, but you'll start to like the way it makes you feel. So
I love it. Fantastic episode. Guys, if you made it this far, I really appreciate you sticking with us, listening to us as we spew our thoughts and our research through the mics here. If today's episode has resonated with you, do somebody else a favor. Share it. Because every time you help another person grow, you are expanding your own capacity for success. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, give us a comment, give us something to research and do. We love to work. Marcus and I both do. It helps us reach more people who are ready to step up into their full potential. Next week, in the next episode, we'll get into another fascinating topic, I'm sure. But until then, stay curious, keep learning, and lean into that journey. Stay disciplined. Because the moment you decide to embrace growth, the whole world opens up for you. Thank you for listening.